Okay, corruptions and scandals of the Catholic Church. And yes, I know it's quite a delicate topic right now, and even a taboo here at school. After all, if you have not recognized the man right there in the picture, is Father Marcel himself. He's the founder of the Legionaries of Christ, and in one way or another can be considered to be the founder of our own school. But what you may not know is that probably his case was the darkest moments that the history of the Church had in the contemporary times. You do not know how big of a scale the corruption went inside the Church for this same matter. I'm going to try to take this in a very serious way and try to just tell you the concrete examples. I'm not going to focus just on Father Marcel myself, but to focus more on the inside of the Church and how it developed in the outside. We have Father Marcel. It is confirmed that he abused more than 100 children. And one of them, the moment he became a priest, years later, decided to go public and go with the Church. He sent a letter where he explained with many other members of this legion, because they were also abused as well, and how Father Marcel was abusing children. This letter came to the hands of a cardinal, and then delivered to the Pope. What you may not know is that in that moment, the Pope was John Paul II, and that cardinal who received the public statement of this priest was Joseph Ratzinger, who will become the next Pope of the time. It is known that Joseph Ratzinger at that time did not commit any actions against Father Marcel. He did not commit any investigation. But it was But it was known that more of 100 have committed and sent the report to the Church, and this came to the hands of the Pope. The Pope, a year later, came to Mexico capital city, in which he, in the public eye, admired Father Marcel. He said how all Mexicans are his sons and daughters, even though he knew what happened. And yes, even though Pope John Paul II is by far one of the greatest popes in history, he committed such an act. Years later, Pope John Paul II passed away, making Joseph Ratzinger the new Pope, Benedict XVI. In his granted of pontificism, he declared war on abusing priests that abused children. But the acts he took against Father Marcel were not in any way severe. He just decided to take him outside of the Legionaries of Christ and sentenced him to his eternal life to prayer in a monastery. Another example, quick example, is how Pope Benedict XVI's brother, George Ratzinger, was at the head of our Berlin choir of church, and how inside that choir 281 kids were abused as well, all behind the noses of the Pope's brother, which was also assumed he committed parts of this abuse. So as you may see, the corruption comes not just because of some priest, but comes to the head, to the highest posts of office.
Yes, of course. In general, the actions of these individuals are not something to be proud of. But I reinstate, individuals. Whether it's the Pope, whether it's any father, they're as equal to any other man, and any man can commit such an atrocity. There's a lot of other religious groups that have had the same problem, and it's all product of a media campaign that it has targeted the church throughout the last couple of decades. If you see the numbers, most of women and child abuses were actually practiced during the 60s and 80s. Nowadays, that number has declined over 90%. Why? Why don't we know that? That's the actual question. Because the media is targeting the church in this matters. And if you're going to see the legacy of this man and the other men that worked, where these guys actually worked, where these monsters worked, well, the best example is the school we study in. This school builds really powerful individuals of integral manners, of integral formation. And yes, it did begin inside that head. But the ones who carried out, that was not the general public. These scandals were revealed from people inside the Legionaries of Christ. So targeting an individual is like targeting an entire classroom because one did an act that's not positive in discipline. And now, yes, we've been pretty harsh on the church, but what good has it made for us? Well, apparently a lot of good. And the first person I want to talk about is Mother Teresa. As you may know, she is actually considered the person to have helped the most amount of poor people in the shortest amount of time, manually. Okay, that's a Guinness World Record. She received the Nobel Peace Prize in one occasion, and she has left a legacy, a very positive legacy. Other examples, where, as I said, Robert W. Wilson, who is now dead, was both an atheist and a gay person, and he left $200 million for the church, for church educational purposes, okay? For Catholic schools, such as this one. Why? Because he believed that our culture, the Catholic culture, shaped the entire Western civilization. And how are you going to argue with that? Gregor Mendel, I mean, he is the father of modern genetics. How can you say that the church did not contribute to such thing when you have such an example? Galileo Galilei. A lot of people believe that Galileo was persecuted in his last years, and that the church actually killed him, which is a very, very grave misconception. Galileo was not killed by the church. He died in his bed, and his daughter became a nun. And Father Lamatrie, who is the guy who proposed the theory of Big Man, yes, a Catholic priest. He also began the theory of the expansion of the universe. So a lot of people think that this is not true, but in fact it is. And a lot of people attribute this to another guy, and it's not like that. And finally, the Catholic education. That's the University of Oxford, one of the first in the European continent, still a Catholic school.
We need to admit that some of the persons that were part of the church have committed great deeds. What we can also not deny was how the church was involved in it. We have, for example, Gregor Mendel, who the moment he published his reports, his studies about genetics, he was outcasted by the church. The church did not recognize him as a priest. They did not let him hold a church. They did not let him keep working, keep developing in a career as a priest. As it is the prison. It is a career. Galileo Galilei, yes, he was not killed by the church. That's right, but he was confined to his house for years for the studies. He was a true believer of God, but he was persecuted by the church. Yes, he was forced to stay in his house for years. So the legacy, yes, it's part of believers of God, but the church did not help any part of it. So, closing statements.
To briefly conclude, yes, the church is not perfect. It is a man-made construction of what we should follow in our lives. But if you're going to analyze it in a human way, we must understand that doctrines also evolve and that we're not perfect. And yes, we might have mistakes. But as it is, the church has had 2,000 years of errors that they have corrected. They have learned from life, such as we must. So what I say is, if these guys have been messing up for the last 2,000 years, and they've done a lot of good, why are we not going to follow something that has a way lot more of experience than we have?
Okay, remember the question of the debate. Should we believe in the church as much as we believe in religion? And that's the problem of the church. The church is a representation of what God is, of what holiness is. And it's their job to remain holy. It's their job to remain perfect for us to trust them, for us to believe in them. But the church have proved their own history. They have not been pure. They have not been what they represent. Why? Because they need to protect the image of what they do, of God. Trying to separate the things of they being a man and try to become something else, something more holy, brings actions like the ones taken to Father Marcel. The church avoided the entire message. They tried to cover it up from the public. They left it in its place in order to not make a public scandal. Why? Because it will jeopardize the view of the people. And that's why we need to not have so much trust in the church. We cannot have so confident eyes. After all, they are men just like us. But they represent something else, which brings them to take action such as that, after to be something more. Thank you.